Oh,
Hey everybody.
hi. It is 0 to 100 with Natasha and Serena.
New set, who this?
Who this? Who this? Welcome, guys. So we're talking about
relationships
and dating.
We've been wanting to do this for a long time.
I know. We were talking about this last
Yeah.
year. I can't believe I'm glad we're making it happen now, but
Yeah.
I can't believe that we waited this long because this is such
everybody, yeah, and everybody's affected by it. Like everybody's in some sort of relationship.
For real.
Yeah,
Okay, so this is our very, very first live interactive. We've gone live before, but we've never really done maybe except the Central Park review of the movie.
That was our most live show.
Yeah, but this is really like the first live interactive. So we want it to be interactive.
Yes.
So absolutely, tune in, but ask questions. Tell us if you disagree with what we're saying, because we're not going to hold nothing back. So it's a regular episode. It's episode
15.
Or is it like this? So we are, going to stick to our regular schedule. We're going to start off with something to celebrate.
Yes.
So just real quick, we are obviously in a new location. So I want to shout out my friend, Anthony Atkins, Dr. Anthony Atkins. He has an amazing new thriving practice here in Fort Lauderdale, Plantation area of South Florida. I know people that travel very far to come here. So even if you're not like in the South Florida area, it's definitely worth it. Mm-hmm. So, we're all about promoting Black businesses, but he's a friend of ours.
Fellow Gator.
I was going to say, I know she's been hitting the Go Gators. But aside from all of that, like I'm very, very picky with dentists. And I used to hate to go. I only liked one other dentist, and he was in the Cayman Islands, and he's from like Australia, and he was so dreamy, girl. He was so
Dr. Dreamy.
He really was. He was so dreamy, and my stepmom was like trying to get me to go to the dentist, and I was like, I want to go. And she's like, no, I'm telling you. One of her friends had the same issue, didn't like dentists, and then she was like, she went there, and she's like, now she's fine. And
she loves the dentist.
He told me, don't let anyone pull my wisdom teeth, because American doctors or dentists or whatever always want to pull wisdom teeth. And he was like, you have space, you don't need to get them pulled. Every single dentist that was like, you need your wisdom tooth.
Yeah.
I was like, no,
I
don't.
They always say that. Mine are gone. I had mine.
Well, Dr. Atkins said I need them, so now I will. But I do want to highlight the fact, it's not just us coming here and then just plugging just the plug. Like, I don't do that. So anything that I co-sign to is because I really like it, and everything that I'm saying is true. My favorite things about coming here are, I will say, number one is the technology. And so like there, so you could see it over here, like the screen on the TV. Like I'm just there, like chilling the whole time, just watching whatever
when you're
movie.
Looking up, you can see like
whatever's on the screen.
Yeah.
And then there's one in front of you too, so you can still watch the screen there. I had some procedure that he used like a laser. I just stuff that I've never seen. Like every time I come in here, he has like some new toy, and I just think that's really important. Then above all that, he's super, super knowledgeable. Over here is like a wall full of degrees and certifications and licenses. So he didn't just stop at dental school. He like kept going and going and going. So I actually owe him, not that he asked, but me personally feel like I owe him a post from my page but I'm waiting until he finishes some cosmetic thing that he's doing. So I'm going to do like a full like plug. Okay. But Atlas Smiles is the name of it.
And this office is gorgeous.
It is. You have to come. It is. You should. Okay, so that's our something to celebrate. We want to celebrate, this thriving new practice and him just doing so well. And yeah, we're gonna celebrate that. Okay. Let y'all start coming. I'm gonna pull up the live on here. You wanna do that?
Yes. Here we are. Ooh. Hey, y'all. Okay.
Celebrating.
That scared me. I wasn't ready for that. I saw it coming and I still wasn't ready.
We have to finish this whole bottle.
Okay.
Bring me that back. No, I guess
only Natasha, I have to say, would have like this color champagne.
It matches. It really would have matched if we had the same background up there. Golden bubbles.
Okay. Cool. All right. So cheers to
episode 15, to Atlas Smiles, to a new day.
Yeah.
And to being able to talk about dating and relationships.
And have you guys talked back to us?
Oh, yeah. I hope y'all talk back.
Yeah. Don't be shy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So where are we going to start? So we are going to start.
Where to start with relationships and dating?
Then and now.
Then and now. Yeah. How is dating now different from dating?
I think we should go in order. So we want to talk about then versus now.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know obviously, and I feel like our audience and viewers and stuff know, you're married, you have a son, but maybe like intro a little bit more about your status, like the time frame.
Yeah. So I think I was single about 10 years ago, which sounds crazy. I don't want to put my age out there. Like a year ago, y'all. But no, 10 years ago. And I think I was single for about like 2 to 3 years before I met my husband, my now husband. And I'm trying to think back to like the dating scene. I know that before I was single, I had been in a long-term relationship. So I was happy to be single. I had been in a relationship for like 5-6 years. So I was kind of like, yay, me time. So I didn't look at it as a bad thing. And dating, we didn't have any of the technology. It was just kind of like you meet people when you go out. I met my husband at like a hookah lounge that I went to. I saw a performance there and I met him there. So that was just how you met people. And then you could take it to Facebook. I think Facebook was just kind of getting popular at the time. So we would continue our conversation before we even started texting or calling each other, maybe on Facebook. I'm trying to think what else. I didn't have any negative experience dating. I mean, I did meet a few. I mean, I'm one of those people, like, I know right away whether I like someone or not. So I would meet someone, talk for maybe like 3 weeks at the max and then be like, I don't like this person, next. But I felt like that helped me because it was like I wasn't wasting time with like someone that I was like, I don't know, do I like them? Do I not like them? So I felt like that was to my advantage to be like, I like this. Like, I feel like in 3 weeks, whether you like someone.
Right. But during the time that you were single, so, like 10 years ago, and whatever time before the 10 years, like, were you the relationship type more, or were you more single for a long time?
It's weird because like I want to say I was more the relationship type, but I don't think so because like my relationship before my husband was just like a high school relationship, and it went like, it kind of bled over into college, but we didn't go to the same college together. So I feel like I mean, you know how it is being like in a long distance relationship and you're young. So I felt like I kind of had the best of both worlds as I still went out and lived my college life and did my college thing. So
wait, y'all met before college?
In high school. Not my husband, but like the relationship I was in before.
Okay.
Yeah. So then when I got out of that relationship, I was single and I was like happy to be single. So I felt like I was more of a single type.
Okay.
I dated different people, tried to see what I liked, what I didn't like.
So what do you remember about dating during that time then, like when you were single? I think one of the biggest differences, so I'm going to pose it with this question, like, how were you interacting with like other singles and, meeting people to go on dates? Like, how were you getting to the point where you were going on a date with someone?
Right. It was just, I would just meet people at random places. Like one person, I was at work. I worked in this out of school for a short period of time at a
Mhm.
middle school. Thank God I don't do that anymore. But God bless all
We
the
love
teachers.
teaching.
I do. I love teachers. Thank you so much for doing your job.
No, we loved teaching.
I didn't. So thank you to all the teachers who dedicate your life to that. But yeah,
their lives are about to get so much more complicated.
Yeah.
God bless y'all.
Definitely. So yeah, I was teaching and someone there was just like, oh, I want you to meet my brother. I remember one time I was teaching and a little girl brought her brother to school, like to drop her off that morning. She was like, I want you to meet my brother. And I was like, it was so awkward.
Oh, like trying to hook y'all up.
Yes. And he came. It was very awkward.
Oh my gosh,
but just so like things like that. And I met my husband at a hookah lounge, but that was because my cousin had invited me. He was like, oh, hey, I want you to see this new band. And then he happened to be there. But it was just like, I think back then it was more like just meeting people wherever you could. Like we didn't have the luxury of dating apps or
the luxury. Please. Okay, so what else do you remember about dating? Or do you want me to share some and then?
I don't remember anything else.
Because you'll probably recognize differences.
Yeah.
So I am the opposite. I have 0 children. I have 0 husband. And I am single. So what I think is the most different so I was in a super long relationship from like beginning of college. So I think like sophomore year of college all the way through my second year of law school with a gap in between teaching.
Pause. That's what I remember about. So when I was in college, I was in a relationship, but I still was kind of living my like best college life.
Oh, she lived her best life, y'all.
And Natasha was super in a relationship at the time. And she like didn't do anything. Like it was so hard to like get her to go out and like yeah, she was like hardcore.
I kind of forgot that because you pick the little memories that you have. So of course, like my favorite memories from like college and stuff were like, remember that time you and Aaliyah came, and there was another time you came, and then remember that time we had.
I will never forget that. We went out. True story. We have to take a sidebar for that.
No, we don't.
They need to know.
No one's there. No one's there.
They need to know.
No one's there.
We went out. I came to Orlando to visit Natasha. We decided to go out. We went out to dinner, had a couple drinks, I think.
We didn't go out to dinner. That's the problem.
Oh,
we went shopping. And before I met you, I grabbed a burger from Checkers. That's all I had eaten for the entire day.
Me too. I hadn't eaten anything for the entire day. So we decided that it would be cool to go out and we drank.
It was something weekend. Was it Classic Weekend or something?
I don't remember.
I went to college in Orlando, go Knights. I don't know why I'm so fidgety.
I remember strange things. So I remember like Stay Fly was the song at the time. So like you played that a lot.
It definitely was classics. Okay, I remember it. It was definitely Classic Weekend. So I know people are probably wondering how I'm like the same height as you, but I'm sitting on my like a 5-year-old. But yeah, so that's all to the story.
No.
So then
so the rest of the story is we had a couple drinks as college kids do, and we went out, had a good time. But by the end of the night, we were, I would say, more than tipsy. And out of nowhere, Natasha started speaking in like a Caribbean accent, like her Cayman Island like background came out, and she then not only did she start speaking in this accent, but she started calling people and leaving them voicemails in
only
this
one
accent.
Person, only Roxanne. Roxanne.
And I was like just as like drunk at the time, so I didn't even think it was anything weird with it. I didn't even like question it when you were talking in that accent. I was like, oh yeah, girl.
There's more to the story. And now since we just don't tell the whole thing. Serena took such good care of me that night. It was a very, very, very busy night. It was at Roxy, which was the most popular club in all of Orlando during Classic Weekend. So it was just like crazy busy. And at that time, that's like back when like guys would just like buy you drinks for no reason. So literally we were only there for like 15 minutes and it cost a lot to like get in the club. I feel bad for the person that paid for us to get in the club. But we just like walked through and people were like, oh, take shots with us. And we're like, yeah, like shots, drink, having so much fun. And then all of a sudden it was like, I'm ready to go. it's time to leave. And I do vaguely remember sitting on a bridge and like the police officer being like, she all right? And you were like, yeah, I got her.
She's okay.
She's fine. And I remember asking him something like really just off the wall. And then when we got in the car, for some reason I wanted to call Roxanne and I had like this accent out of nowhere. Woke up the next morning. Then I remember something about a raccoon when we got to my apartment and you were like trying to park and there was like a raccoon there or something. And I was like freaking out about that. And because I think I got it mixed up. The raccoons are not supposed to be in the day and not the night. So it was like, oh my God, he's rabies, blah, blah. So that was like a whole thing. It was just like one of those nights where it's just like, what else?
It was, yeah.
What else?
It was crazy. It was fun though.
So I woke up the next morning and Roxanne called me cracking up. And she was like, I kept trying to figure out why your number was with this message when it was obviously one of my friends from Jamaica. And I was like, I didn't do
wish
that.
She would have saved that. Like
she had it for a while. I heard it once. It sounded nothing like me. Like I don't know where that accent
you have
came
like the
from.
perfect accent.
That's what she said. And she's Jamaican.
It was perfect.
So she was like, it didn't sound like someone trying to imitate. She was like, it sounded like no, this must be one of my friends from Jamaica calling me. But why does it say Natasha's name?
It was Natasha.
It was the Patron. Blame it on the Patron.
Oh yeah.
It was definitely Patron.
Wait, so you made a comment. You just said it was back in the day when people used to buy you drinks. They don't do that anymore?
Maybe they still do, but I feel like now the difference is there's like too much that goes along with it. So like now if a guy's like, oh, let me buy you a drink, and it's like, no, thank you. Like it's not even worth the $20 or $10 or $15, depending upon where you are, to have to like be polite and like, I'm not interested. Like I got it. I got my drink. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you. Video looks weird, right?
It does.
It looks like we're on a news little thing.
Pause. You know us, y'all. We have technical difficulties and we're not shame about it.
Ooh, I'm sore.
Maybe.
Okay.
I know what it might be. This.
So that means that if I take it off and put it back on, it's going to cancel the whole thing. So we're just going to have to leave it all pixely.
You guys still love us, right?
No, but we went through so much.
What does it look like on Facebook?
You're so smart. Oh, yeah, because it's transmitting through there. I'm going to cut this all out.
That's good, right?
Yep. Okay. So where were we? We were about to talk about like the differences in dating. So I definitely think that the one of the main differences is how you meet people to date. And it took me a very long time. Like I probably was kind of like old school. Like it really, I feel like my age group period, like that was just a difficult transition, depending upon when you started like being single, you know, like what age you were. But so in college, no, it couldn't have been college, because college, like Facebook was still like really new.
Yeah,
when we were in college,
it was like brand new.
And Facebook was great though. Like I met Roxanne from Facebook, as a matter of fact. So it was, I think we were introduced to the whole like social media aspect and meeting people like through online. Like you never met them before, but you know.
But you could trust people more on Facebook back in the day, because
it was college.
It was closed. Like you knew that they went to your school or they went to another school. Yep. So yeah,
I liked when it was like that. It was really cool.
Me too.
So like when it first started, you had to, because some people probably don't even know this, but you had to basically like you had to use your college school email, so like .edu, whatever, and then basically it would start off connecting you with people who went to your same school. So you go to a new school, you don't know anyone, then you get on Facebook and then and so that's how I met her. But so when I started dating, so I was single from second year of law school, so like 2012 and then I had like a brief relationship in like I think like the end of 2013 into the beginning of 2014. I ain't trying to like talk mess or whatever, but it was just kind of like the type of where you feel like, okay, here I am on the timeline. Like this is where I'm supposed to be at this point in my life. And once I just realized like I don't really care about that timeline, like I got to do things on my own, it was just kind of like no. So then I was single all the way from 2013, like mid 2013, all the way until this time last year. And then I dated somebody for 6 months. And now I've been single since December. So all of that timeline is just to say, like, I've had experiences, like long periods of being single, in different kind of times, you know? So like, after the long relationship, my second year of law school, I was so awkward. And like my friends would try to work with me on like how to like flirt like in public, like when you're in a place. And I'm like, well, if he wants to talk to me, he could just come and talk to me. Like, why I gotta give him a wink? You know, why I gotta do that? And plus, people don't believe, but I'm really shy. Like, I just am not the natural person to be like, that's just not me. See how unnatural that looks? Like, it's just not me. So my friends would, you know, try to kind of tell me that thing, like, you gotta kind of flirt and and like guys don't like rejection. So you have to kind of give them like the green light. Like, if you come and talk to me, I'm gonna give you the time of day. So I sucked at that. So time went on, and then Tinder was a thing. But by the time I heard about Tinder, it already had a rap for being like a DTF, kind of app. And it seemed like that would be the natural kind of thing, because I'm like, you're literally just looking at a person and reading like one or two things about them and saying like yes or no. And I'm like, but I don't even know, like, first of all, it's a picture. And then second of all, like, I don't know, like, I mean, how do you treat your mama? Like, what? I mean,
exactly.
So like, I don't know enough. But then as time goes on, you realize like, okay, but you just, when you meet someone in person, you don't know those things either.
Right.
So yeah, in person, it still is like a better situation, because you get like a vibe, like an energy from them. And it's more difficult to get that from a photo and from like a little like small profile. So Bumble came along. I never tried Tinder, but Bumble came along. And so then I heard that like on Bumble, the girl has to like initiate the conversation. So I was like, okay, well, then I get like a buffer to still be like, no, which I would do all the time. So I tried it. I went on dates. How it would go is I would go on 3 dates, and not even on purpose. It just kind of worked out like this. I would go on 3 dates and I'd be like, this is so stupid. And then I would delete the app for a while. And then I would be like, well, I just, you know, faith without works is dead, right? Like, I got to put it to work. So I would try it again. It would be 3 dates, and then that would be that. So I never really got super comfortable with it. I always thought it was kind of weird. You don't know. Like, I was always like kind of tense or whatever, because it's like, what if I don't want to stay? Like, do I have to stay? Like, am I gonna like falsely imprison my own self and like have to endure this date? So that's what scared me about, or maybe anxious about dating in general. Then that extra layer of like this new kind of like thing and, you know, mode of meeting people online. But it's kind of necessary because people don't talk to people in public.
That's true.
So that's
why you have your phone and you're just looking at your phone the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. And people just aren't the same kind of social. And it's almost like I asked someone one day, I was like, well, if you're in the grocery store and someone comes up to you and says like, hey, you look nice, how are you? What's your first impression? Creep.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I was going to say it's flipped now, because it used to be like if someone contacted you online, you'd be like, oh no, they're a serial killer. I don't trust them. But now it's kind of like if somebody comes up to you in public, it's like, what kind of weirdo? Like, what kind of person are you? And I'm not so much like automatically thinking they're a creep, but like even things that used to be normal, like, hey, don't touch me. Don't touch me. So realizing that was like, okay, well, then what are you going to do? Then you have to like change with the time. So I tried Bumble. I tried The League, because it was on I never heard of that one.
Oh, really? So you don't watch Insecure?
Yeah.
So Insecure, the first season, Molly was excited because she finally got approved by The League. So that's how I found out about it. And basically you have to like submit your like essentially a resume. And then that's how it's like, that's how they say it is.
Presented, yeah.
Then they only let in a certain number of people like within like a certain area. Then they try to like match you up. And then each day you get like, I don't know, however many like people to decide. I think 3 maybe. Then you could say like yes or no. Child, it took forever to get approved. And forever could have been a month or 10 months. I really don't remember. But it wasn't just like an instantaneous thing. And then once I did it, I was like, so y'all filtering through these people? Like, y'all filtering through people and these are the people that y'all have? Okay. So never went on a date from The League. Then Hinge came along when I first moved to Fort Lauderdale.
Never
So
heard of that either.
the firm I was working with, everyone there was like, Hinge, Hinge, Hinge. I'm like, what is this? And they're like, you ever heard of Hinge? And I'm like, I was like, oh, like Bumble. And they're like, yeah, but Bumble's like, like Hinge is a new. And I'm like, why? With that one, you could like, you put like little answers. So it's like you get a better feel for like the person's personality with Hinge. That's how they described it. And it was kind of true. But I don't think I went on any dates from there. I think I'm just like one of those people where it's like I extended out. I did Bumble. So Bumble was like my little like, I put my toe in the water,
Right.
but not any water. I put it in this lake. So I'm not ready for the ocean. I'm not ready for, whatever. But this lake was all right. So I'm going to just stick with the lake. So I tried a couple others and then I don't know. It's tough because
do people not do like the Match.com and all of that? Is that like older people?
I thought it was older people too, but then I started seeing like on the commercials and it would be younger people. And I was like, well, maybe like I should do this because then I'll get somebody that's more serious. But then I was like, nothing's ever simple with me. So when I had that thought process, it's like, am I serious? Like, am I ready? Like, am I going to meet somebody who's like ready to like be married? Like, yeah, like 2 months from now. And like, am I there yet? And that's probably about the time when I started being more direct with my prayers. So people I knew kept praying, like making lists of like what your man is like and like everything about him. And then you like pray for him. I never did that. I always prayed for God to work on me and get me ready for when my man, I feel like he already got him for me. So just pray for me. Like I would pray for him to work on me so that when he does come, I don't blow the opportunity, So I was praying that for a while. And then I said it to somebody and they were like what? And I was like, well, I don't know if I'm ready. And then I would get to the point where I'd be like, I think I'm ready. You can go and send him. And then the next guy to come, I'd be like, thanks, God. And I'd be like, wait, no, you couldn't have sent him.
Well, do you think these apps like make you like quickly judge someone? Because like I was talking to my husband about it the other day. Like when we first met, I wasn't necessarily like
thinking husband or whatever.
Not even like that we would date. I was just like, I had met him at a hookah lounge and then we were talking about like doing an event together. So I wasn't even really thinking like, oh, this is somebody I could really date. And he's 2 years younger than me. So to me at that time, when I was younger, was a big deal, was a bigger deal than it is now. So I was just like, oh, like I would never even look at him like that. And then, but then when he asked me out, I wasn't like, I didn't think of all those things and be like, no. I was just like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But still, like, I wasn't thinking like all of this would come from it. So good. But do you think like these apps make you like not like put you in a different headspace where you're quickly judging people or like you're not willing to give people like a chance, even though they might not meet your criteria? Yeah.
But I wouldn't give them a chance if I met a person either. So I don't know, but it's like people are looking for different things,
Yes, we want you.
Wait, hold on. So people are looking for different things. So some people really go on those apps and they're just really, DTF. Like that's what they want. Some people just want to casually date. Some people, like they even have options now where it can just be like a friendship networking thing. So it really is about what you want. So I know what I want. So there has to be a little bit of judgment with regard to I'm not dating just for like fun at this point in my life. You know what I'm saying? So that whole 3 weeks thing, I was like, 3 weeks, that's a little long because unless there's nothing, no deal breaker. Right. But if there's something there that I'm just like, I know I would never be able to get past that. Why am I going to, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Hey guys.
Hi everybody.
Thank you for watching. We definitely want people to engage with us in this conversation.
Yeah, so you don't have to ask questions. Just ask, make comments, and we'll post them up there. Unless you say something like I got big feet or my head look big, then I'm not posting that.
We can't help you.
Me?
Oh, I was thinking if they were asking us about that, like I have big.
No, I'm saying unless they say that like my head's
you don't
big.
have a big head.
I do have a big head. I auditioned for the pilot of George Lopez's show, but they don't tell you what show it is. But we figured it out later because of the screenplays that I had to like read or whatever. And I was like, how did I not get that part? Like I got his head, and I was good. You didn't even really have to speak that much Spanish.
Oh,
You remember the show?
no.
Oh, I loved his show. I was auditioning for the daughter, but they just say like you're a teen daughter. Like it gives a description, but it doesn't say like what the show is because it's for the pilot. Child. So total segue. Okay. Ooh, else. I don't know what your question is, but bring it on.
Yes. Ask it.
So I don't know if we really got into then and now, but I just recognize that that's one of the biggest differences. Then and now for me is the fact that like now I can do it. Like before I was like, oh, like I would talk myself out of it because I literally started dating the guy that I was with for 8 years when I was like 19. So I never really had like the just, go on a date, like have fun, whatever. Like I didn't have a whole phase. I didn't have like none of that.
I feel like we were never single at the same time.
Right. I feel like that about a lot of my friends. And then friends that were single and I was like, we were living it up. Then like they got in a relationship and I was like, you can't have friends? Like you gotta spend all your time with him? Yeah. So I'm like if it was a test of like endurance, I've won. Like I feel like all my friends are like in relationships, married, whatever. And I'm just kind of like just holding it down. But I'm just not gonna settle. Yeah. So I guess we can jump back to it. I feel like you're gonna recognize differences as we go along, as I talk about like experiences now, because my experiences obviously are going to be more like present, like more like right now than yours.
Do you feel like, one question I wanted to ask, like, do you feel that it's scary? Because I feel like it's scarier to date now, but I feel like sometimes I feel like that's just like from my point of view because I'm not dating. Like, you know how parents are like, back in my day, it was better. Like, is it scarier to date now?
100%. So this may sound crazy, but like, anybody on there, if I ever give you an opportunity to go on a date with me, like I have a pistol in my purse. And that's just because I've heard so many stories. So I feel like when you do better. Like how can I sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I never thought this was going to happen. But I just read like 10 stories in the past year about this type of thing happening to girls. So it's definitely scary. The stories that people say about like guys trying to like drug like the roofie and stuff. I know it has like different names now. But I actually had an experience with someone that we went to school with. We were really young too. And the guys that got us drinks. And I just noticed how they were walking like the long way to come back. And they like came back and then they like gave us the drinks. And my friend like took one sip and then they're just like watching us too close. And then as she took a sip, I noticed that it was fizzy at the bottom. So I was like, why is it fizzy like that? And she like looks and he was like, drink your drinks, da da da. And I was like, I'm not drinking this, like da da da. And I had never heard the thing roofie. Like I didn't know what that was. She told me that that's what it was. But you couldn't even be like just, kind of trusting, like, oh, you got me a drink. And if it wasn't for just my upbringing of like paying attention to little things like that, I probably would have been like dancing. But I was like, why? Because I saw them at the bar and then they went like, instead of just coming straight like this, they went like all the way around. If I had to guess, I would say to help it dissolve or I don't know. So that was like early when we were like young. That was like college. And since then I've heard all these crazy stories. Someone from my hometown was like charged with, I guess like rape, but it was a sexual assault, I think was the actual charge. And he actually is accused of like murder too. And I'd met him before. When I tell you, he seemed like such just like a
normal guy.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't have, if he was more like in my age group and would have asked me, I probably would have said yes. He was like my sister's age group. If she would have said, I wouldn't have been like, no. I didn't notice any red flags about him. Just based upon that, that initial encounter. So that just made me be like, you really cannot just judge somebody or really get a feel from someone just off the first interaction with them. So you're always vulnerable. So I definitely like, if I had to give advice to like someone younger that was just like starting to date, I would say things like always drive separate, always meet them there. Don't tell them where you park necessarily. Meet them actually at the restaurant. So if they say like, hey, which garage are you parked in? I would be like, oh, I'm just pulling up now. So then you park wherever you want to or something like that.
Wow.
And then if they say, oh, I'll walk you back to your car. No, like I'd be like, oh, well, where'd you park? Like I would usually ask the question first. So then they have to tell me where they parked. And then I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, I'll walk you to your car. No, it's okay. It's okay. Because I'm parked at this garage.
Right.
After you parked in the same garage, I'm going to go back inside, play on my phone.
That's the things that I wouldn't know to do.
I think Tamitha, because she literally will like test me like when we're driving down the road, like what car just passed us. I'm like, I don't know. What? She would want me to like know the type of car, the color, and even like sometimes a tag. So it just made me super alert. And so that's just like one example, but I'm constantly like on edge, which is stressful. Yeah, so it takes a really long time for me to get to the point where I can like drop my guard and just go on a date and like be myself
and focus on getting to know them.
Mm-hmm. And then I like also am constantly like in between like trusting that gut of like, this ain't it, and being patient, because it's like, Natasha, what if you're just cutting everybody off so soon? Yeah. Like this one guy went on 2 days and I said I would give him 3 because he was so nice, but I just knew it wasn't like. Yeah. Then on the second day he was like, yeah, I really hate when girls like they know that it's not going anywhere and then they just like keep letting you take them out. And I was like, thank God, I have to go on a third day. I was like, oh, thank God.
You know what I always wonder though? Like I like to watch like those murder mystery stories, like the Lacey Peterson stories, stuff like that. And I always wonder, like, were there red signs, like were there red flags, were there signs, or was he just like the perfect gentleman and they got married and got pregnant and then all of a sudden he turned into like a monster? Like that scares me.
I think it could be both. And I think it says a lot when so maybe earlier on, if like my friends or like my family or whatever were like, this, I'd be like, okay, like thanks, but whatever. But now I pay attention to that. Yeah. And I'm quick to hurry up and bring somebody around, like my friends, because I want to get their feel, especially if I'm kind of like, if I'm like here, like teetering, then I'm like, and I did that with one guy. I asked my friend and our partner, I was like, can we just go on like a double date? Like I know it's like last minute, but I just need like whatever. And she was kind of like I'm indifferent, like whatever. Like you seem nice, but I didn't see any connection. And I was like, that's enough. Like she could have just been like anything negative. I was like, yeah, I knew it. So I definitely think that you definitely have to be safer now. And I would never, ever do any of those dates where it's like, oh, like come to my place and I'll cook for you or whatever. That's not first or second date, in my opinion. Maybe third date. It just kind of depends on like the time frame and just how good you're vibing with a person. I'm not saying that it has to be like, you remember back in the day, you would have like, oh, well, I will not kiss him until 6 months. Yeah. And, it's not like that. It still is based on the person. And I don't think that anyone, like you could do whatever you want to do. But I just feel like I like to maintain control. And I feel like if I'm coming to your place, let's say you have like valet parking at your building. So I can't even like go and get to my car fast. You have valet parking at your building. I know your address only because you just like sent it to me. I don't even know like what apartment number you're in. Even if I share my location, they don't know unless I text them after I get there. They don't know what apartment. And then I just feel like I can't maintain control because like I'm in a foreign space, like in your place or whatever. Maybe this is why I'm single. So I mean, take all of this with a grain of salt. Well, maybe if I was just like a little bit, but
that's why you're alive. Yeah, I was gonna say that's why you're alive. So single whatever. That's secondary.
And I literally think about things like that. Like if I say like if someone, like let's say God forbid, like something does happen to me, I don't want anyone that I know to read a story and be like, but what was she doing? Right. But why was she there? But why would she do this? But why didn't she? I want them to be like, oh my gosh, like it straight up was like freak act, like someone just came and like caught me off guard, whatever.
Why don't they have a dating app where you have to do a background check to even get on?
Invasion of privacy. I don't even think I would do it because I don't usually tell people like what I do for work. So I wouldn't want
But not just like a criminal one?
But then like that's judgy. Like what if someone is a good person but they just have a background?
That's true. And a lot of these weirdos don't necessarily have a criminal history.
But one guy I went on a date with and it was so great. His jeans were weird, but the date was really, really good. And he was cool too. This was like a couple years ago. And he just seemed really cool. But then I think I said something to a friend. I was like, I really don't have any complaints. And they were like you? Like what? And I said something like, I haven't like, looked into his background, one of my friends, I sent her a picture, and she was like, I don't know if I would want to look into his background. I might find something you don't want to find. Like, he sounds like he's really nice, like, knows how to treat a girl, and he like looks good too, whatever. And then my other friend was like, one thing about it, if it's something to find, Natasha gonna find it. And I was like, that's true. So something just was sitting weird with me about him. It's just something just wasn't settling right. So went on a second date, went great too. Then I think before the second day, I Googled him, and like nothing was coming up. And I was like, Then after the second day, I was like, how does nothing come up on someone? So that intrigued me. Long story short.
Oh, Lord.
Long story short, I did find out information, because the more I looked and couldn't find anything, the more I had to find something. Like this can't, like, you can literally Google anyone, you're going to find something at this point. And I couldn't find anything. So then I looked it up, and a pop-up window came up, and it was a news story. But when I would click on it, it would take me to like a different page for that news thing. And I was like, no, how do I get to this story? So long story short, like, one thing, y'all want to play with me, because listen, the FBI should have, but
don't bring the FBI into it. I almost got scared, because I thought you were going to be like, the FBI had like...
Girl, so I found this whole, basically, do you remember when, I think it was Ray Rice that like choked out his girlfriend in the elevator and then dragged her off? He did the same thing to his fiance.
OMG.
And I don't know how he kept all of this under wraps. Like, it wasn't coming up in, like, when I looked it up in the county where he was from, when I looked at, like, it just
he might have paid someone to like bury it a little bit.
It was buried, but honey, Natasha shovels, she could find anything. So then, you have that other little voice like, okay, what if it was an isolated incident? There's like more to the story. No, this woman started like a whole like domestic violence like outreach. You don't do that for no isolated event. So I was like, okay, delete. Like, so it's not to say that I couldn't get past someone's past, but that's the kind of situation that, let's say, God forbid, something happens to me, and then all of that background comes out. And what are y'all going to say? What was she doing?
Yeah.
Did she not know this? What was she thinking? So I don't want that to be my, whatever. Okay, so let's move on.
Yeah.
We've been talking about issues in dating. One of the main issues that I wanted to talk about was gaslighting and narcissism.
So when you first said that, you said the term gaslighting, and I was like, oh, I've heard that before. And I just kind of made up, I guess, in my head what I thought it meant. But so I think it would be good to just start with telling people exactly what it is, because I think a lot of people have heard it like me, but not sure. I'm
glad you asked. So the Oxford Dictionary definition is to manipulate someone by psychological means into questioning their own sanity. So the example that I heard that helped me to like understand what it was, I guess it comes from some video or something where a man, I guess, let's say a husband and a wife, they had like gas lights in their backyard, and he would like move just like a few inches, like the gas light, and she would be like, wasn't that right there? And now it's there. And he would be like, no, it's in the same spot. Like, are you good? And then he would move it a little bit more. And so she was like, oh my gosh, like, am I losing it? Like, what? I swore it was right here and now it's there. And he would be like, no, it's always been here. So to make her like think like I'm going crazy. So in practical application, the way I think of it, and from my experience, is when a guy does something that makes you like react in such a way of like frustrates you, or is like unreasonable. Like if you were to tell someone like, well, he said this and he did this, but then when you react, they're like, whoa, like, why are you like, why are you being so weird? Like, calm, like, what is wrong with you? And you're like, what? Like, you were literally just yelling at me about whatever, and then I respond and you're like, calm down. So that's kind of how I think of it. But I think it's a huge issue. And I almost associate my experience with gaslighting was from a narcissist. And based upon my conversations with other people, I think I think they like go hand in hand, because it has to be someone that's like sick in the head to like play with somebody. Because what are you gaining from that?
I don't know. I think a lot of guys gaslight and they're not exactly even sure what gaslighting is. Like that husband from your example, he obviously knew what he was doing. He was doing an experiment. And I think a narcissist, I feel like they know somewhat what they're doing, but I feel like there's other guys that aren't I wouldn't term them a narcissist, but they gaslight and they don't even know that they're doing it. Like it's just in their, like they just want to do it.
I don't think you can accidentally manipulate someone. Manipulation has to be an intentional. Yeah, it's manipulating. So it's like, I'm going to figure, because what my experience was, let me figure out like what excites her, what gets her mad, and And then it's like, you just like get this information and you just like build this, you know, like infrastructure. And then it's like, push this button. Why are you doing this? What? Oh my God. Like it's a total mind screw. It really, really is. And it's one of those things where you have the experience and then you just like don't really know how to like, you know, really interpret what exactly happened. And then you hear other people start talking, or you hear like you read the definition of what a narcissist is, or you discover gaslighting and you're like, what's that? And then you're like, oh, been there, done that. So I've only had like one experience with it, but it's torture. It's torture.
Yeah. I don't know if I've had experience with that. I mean, I feel like I've had experience with guys who are just like, they know. So does this fit in the definition of gaslighting? So they know they've done something wrong, and when you react to it, they're like, what? I don't understand what the big deal is. Like, why are you upset? When they know like it really is something to be upset about.
I think that is.
I feel like every guy does that.
No, every guy doesn't do that. Every guy does not do that. Like I've definitely experienced guys that are, you know, willing to.
Not every guy, but a good deal of guys do it.
And I don't necessarily think that that's always gaslighting, though.
I feel like it's them just trying to like not
deal with
be in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I don't think that.
Oh, okay. All right. So then, then it's not every guy.
I think it's an intent thing. So if your intent is to manipulate and like make the person feel like they're losing their mind, then that's gaslighting. But if it's not, then it's just
for you
guys
to like,
being guys.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we made that distinction. So we're talking about like, how many people have you felt like you've encountered that are that gaslight or narcissists?
In like, for as far as dating goes. As far as dating goes, one.
Okay.
Oh, turn up. Cheers. One. But in my career, I deal with narcissists all the time, which is so crazy because I can deal with them there. But in a relationship, pass all day.
Well, yeah, because who wants to be with someone who's gonna like manipulate and make you feel crazy all the time, and they're like always playing some sort of like game of chess. You need to be with someone you can feel comfortable with and you can be yourself.
Yeah, narcissists are sick, man. They're super sick. Okay. Oh. You know what we should talk about next? Will and Jada.
Oh my goodness. You
know
what?
August Alsina.
And you know what? People have been waiting for Jada to bring herself to the red table, and she released it today.
No way. Yeah. Did you see it?
I haven't watched it. I saw it on my way here that people were commenting about it. So Will and Jada have finally addressed it. I haven't watched it. I've seen some comments about it. I know they talked about being in a bad marriage and doing it, you know, just like writing it out like bad marriage till we die or whatever, forever. I think it was a matter of like were on a separation or just had decided things weren't good and that they wanted to see other people at the time. So I don't think that the running rumor about them has been that they've had an open marriage.
Right.
I don't think that they 100% cop to that in the interview. I think they said we were in a rough patch.
Okay.
We decided to see other people, and that's where this is coming from. I still think that they are not really truly being honest about the fact that I think they do have open marriage.
Why do you think that?
I just feel like it's been a rumor for a long time, you know, and a lot of times with celebrities, when you see a rumor around for a long time, think of like, I hate to bring up like a really bad example, but like R. Kelly or like someone like that, like there's a long rumor, like you keep hearing about the same thing over and over, and they're like, they don't really come out and deny it, but it's just like, that's not true.
So you feel like there has to be like some truth in that.
It has to. And then this story comes out where there's a whole other relationship within their relationship, which is the definition of an open marriage. But they're like, oh no, it was just like a rough patch.
Well, I don't know. I don't doubt it. I feel like the way that they interact with each other is almost like too good to just be like in a, typical relationship. They're so like BFFs. And for them to have been married for so long, have gone through, we know about, their ish. Even like when they first started dating, like the whole Tupac thing, like we know about all this. So it's like for y'all to have like dealt with all this stuff and you're married, a married couple in Hollywood. Like we know how that goes too.
I know.
There's really been no like scandals. So I think that I'm inclined just based upon like common sense that I think is true too. But what I do think for sure is that they didn't have no open relationship that was supposed to be broadcasted to the masses. It was supposed to be their business, and August Alsina is a little snitch.
Yeah, I'm a little to me, I give him the side eye because it's like, why did you decide to release this?
I think he has an album or something coming out.
Right. I think so too. And then also like,
I can't support that. Like I feel like we gotta maintain some level of like the code. And like what part of the game is that?
Yeah, he definitely set that interview up because it was with Angela Yee, and it's
That's
like
true.
If that was information that it was going to be like breaking news, it would have been someone like shout out. I love Angela Yee and the Breakfast Club, but I feel like he would have done like a bigger.
But it wasn't even the Breakfast Club. It was like just with her.
Just her. It was like a setup. It was like a whole orchestrated thing, and she specifically asked him about it. It wasn't like she stumbled upon that. Like she wasn't like, oh, who are you in a relationship with right now? Like it was kind of like.
That's a good point. I didn't even watch the interview. I just saw like little clips that they posted about it, and he just, I don't know, he just seemed like a little punk, like a little chump. Like
he's weird.
He need his behind beat because he should have taken that as like a life-changing experience and da-da-da. And then I also thought it was trifling of him to then post something about like where I am this year is like a huge like, so much growth. And then he posted like a picture of him like in a hospital bed from last year. And I'm like, okay, I ain't listen to your music. Like you cancel as far as I'm concerned, because like what part of the game is that? Yeah. Like I'm sure Jada was great to him.
Yeah.
I thought he was friends with the son, Jaden. I thought that's why he was always around. Because he would always
they have a lot of pictures. Like that, when I first heard him say that, I was like, no, that's not true. And then I saw all these pictures. I was like, oh, maybe like they have a lot of pictures together. They were out quite a bit.
I thought that he just like, I don't know, was like, like a lost puppy and they just like took him in. That's really what I thought.
But also like I look at her kind of like with a side eye too, because like 2 seconds of watching an interview with him, you can kind of see how immature and like weird he is. Like, how did you not see that? Like, how did you get in a whole relationship with this dude?
That's so true. I did not even think that.
Yeah, and she's older. Like she should know better.
She's
so had more experience
like,
in the world.
What you saw there.
Yeah. Why did you bring this man into your house?
Yeah, they say that Will's dating some, I forgot what her nationality is. I think she's Hispanic, but I can't remember like where she's from. Like model or whatever. Like that's his like side, and she's super young too. So
I don't think they addressed that in the Red Table Talk.
Oh.
I do know that they were like, we have purposely not spoken about this, but Will was like, Black Twitter is making us speak about it right now. So,
well, that's good. I'm glad they addressed it though.
Yeah.
Well, the best of luck. And you know what's funny is our very, very, very first episode. So today's episode 15, but our very, very, very first episode was Keeping Up with the Smiths.
It was. What did we talk about?
It was a spin on Keeping Up with the Joneses, but it was basically like showing like the yin and yang, like how to look at the dual sides of everything. And like, yeah, you don't want to, just follow suit, but then you also don't want to not do something that you would be good at or that you could love or like or whatever, just because other people are doing it. So like, I mean, look at us. Like, what if we were like, oh, but everybody's doing a podcast? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you, like, following what's going on or what someone else has done is a negative thing, but you just don't want it to rule your life. Like, you don't want to just be like running behind, just trying to do stuff just because other people are doing it.
Yeah. Do whatever. Obviously, I think our message was to do whatever your heart or your passion leads you to, and your character, your unique voice or whatever it is going to bring something new to it.
Don't get distracted by what other people are doing. Like, stay focused on you.
Yeah.
But y'all can go back and watch it. Episode 1 is on YouTube and I think Facebook too.
And I think someone made a comment about, we were talking about maturity. So for August,
hold on, first this one.
We did.
If going
back to gaslighting.
A game that makes it, what makes it male specific. I don't think that it is male specific, but that's the only experience that I've had, because I'm not going to gaslight nobody. So I can't speak on my experience.
Yeah, I did say I feel like a lot of guys do it, but after we talked about what the true definition is, I will take that off the table. I don't think a lot of guys do it. You're right. It's more of a narcissist kind of thing. And yeah, anybody could be a narcissist, male or female.
It's really, really difficult to be a female narcissist.
What?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult.
You think so?
100%. Like the actual definition of like what a narcissist is, I think that's very difficult for a female to do it. Females can be spoiled, they can be selfish, but narcissism is like a whole nother thing. I bet if you look,
I have to look into narcissism a little bit more.
Like what a narcissist is, I definitely think that it's male dominated, but I don't think that it's impossible, especially not today, for a female to be a narcissist. I just think it's rare. But even still, I don't care if there's one female out there that's narcissistic, and if there are 10 females out there that we know that are gaslighting, like I definitely don't think it's like male specific. I just can only speak from
your
receiving
point of view.
Or like being involved in it based upon the other person doing it, because I never, and like my friends ain't about that life. So so that's why I think
what defines a narcissist.
Let's look up the actual definition, because I have my definition, but it is going to be describing.
Thank you for your questions, by the way. We really love them, and we want more.
So narcissistic personality disorder involves a pattern of self-centered, arrogant thinking and behavior, a lack of empathy and consideration for other people, and an excessive need for admiration. Others often describe people with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, as cocky, manipulative, selfish, patronizing, demanding, etc. Yeah, so the admiration thing was like what really separated it for me from just like someone who's just like self-centered, arrogant, egotistical, whatever. Like when I recognized how much he like sought out like acceptance, or people to be like, about him, it was weird. And when I started putting that together, that's when I was like, and then when I started learning about the definition of a narcissist, I was like, oh my God, all day, like probably super strong. So, and that's also why I think I could deal with it at work, but not like in my personal life. No, you gotta go. And also,
age does not equal maturity. You're absolutely right. We did talk about Augustina's age, but you're right. It doesn't equal maturity. I just saw the interview.
So you weren't basing it on his age.
No, he could have been 60 years old. I just was like, this guy.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. I don't think that was like based on his age, but it was based on like your perception, like what you received like from his personality. I think you have a better chance of a guy being more mature if they're older, but I've definitely met some like mid-30 guys that act like they're early 20s, and then I've met some like younger, like early 30 guys that act like, you know, their age or a little bit older.
Yeah, definitely. When I met my husband, he was 2 years. I mean, he still is 2 years younger than me. No, I'm
that is funny.
10 years younger than him now. But no, but when I engaged him in conversation, I didn't feel that at all. I felt like we were mature. I feel like there's areas where people can be immature. Like I feel like I might be more immature in an area than he might be, and
like what's give an example?
Oh Lord, let me see. I feel like he is more I don't know, because like I'm perfect.
Right.
So like
that's why I'm like, I don't understand how this can like ebb and flow.
Like,
he doesn't watch these, so I can say whatever I want.
He might be trying to tune in now.
Nah.
I don't know.
Serena. We don't hold back.
Well, so I feel like he's more like, I don't know if this has to do with maturity. I know like our strengths and our weaknesses. And I think that's important to know, like when you're in a relationship, because like you play off each other, and you definitely need to be stronger in an area where your other is, weak. So I feel like he's stronger at like going at things like not taking a no for an answer and like really going at it, where I'm more of like, let's just like
see what
if they said no, like if they said no and like whatever, you know, let's keep the peace. Like I always think of people's feelings first. Got nothing to do with
maturity.
That's true. I mean, I'm really mature.
Right. That's why I don't understand like where you would be immature in places that he's like more mature. I can't think of anything.
I can't either.
She just saying what sounds good, and we're gonna stop that right now.
But it's true. Like people can, but not me. My husband is like, he okay. Oh, we're getting some good questions, some good comments.
Where do we leave off?
So here. So you don't think that women can be self-centered? Absolutely. I think you talked about a woman not being able, you said it's really hard for a woman to not be a narcissist, but self-centered,
she can be
selfish. So definitely women can be self-centered. I still have a question about the narcissism, but Natasha seems to think that it's really hard for a woman. And based on that definition, that's true. Because like women, it's our natural instinct is to have empathy, to think of other people first. So that's natural for women.
And I think that like if we just like generalize it, that it doesn't properly highlight the fact that this is a disorder.
Right. It is.
And it's a disorder.
People throw that term around, and that goes back to like our mental health discussion, how people try to normalize these things and make it seem like it's not a disorder or a mental illness. It's like, oh, you're just bipolar or whatever, or you're a narcissist. But it truly is a disorder.
Because like a woman, like you said, a woman is naturally like, you know, empathetic and like, you know, just more caring, nurturing. That's just like the natural like makeup.
Right.
But I think that some women can be so self-centered, so just driven, whatever, and they can ignore it, but I still think it's there. A narcissist, it's just like it's just not there, and you can see it. Like I literally have seen it. Like so, like people are like waiting, and it's just like so that you like the different. Here's an example. Like so, I remember one time I'm always late, like almost always late.
This is true,
but like never to court really. Like maybe only twice, but it was like an accident and like a deer ran across the road. No man is So I'm habitually late, but it's because I try to fit 4 1-hour things in 4 hours. I don't like give any buffer. I don't add for like drive time in between things. I'm like, okay, that take 1 hour. 1 hour. That take 1 hour. I got 4 hours. I can do the 4 things.
Right.
And then I'm like, and then I'm like rushing everywhere. So I walked into a meeting, like busted in, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And one of my law school classmates said, you be trying to be on time? I was like, yeah. So she and probably they just thought that I just be like, I get there when I get there. But because I busted in all like, oh, sorry guys. She was like, you be actually trying?
How did you feel when she said that?
It kind of effed me up for a little bit because I was like, damn, people think that I'm just like rude? So it made me want to like make, because I don't want people to think, because I just assume I know that I'm busting my butt to try to get there, just like it should be just happening. And I really do have like random stuff to just be happening. Like I'll be late to something, but it's because like this random thing was like in the road and then busted my tire, and AAA took 2 hours. So it's like, you know, I'm the person that like has those excuses, but they be real. But when she said that, I was like, dang, I really got to figure this out, because I don't want people to think that I'm just like inconsiderate. I don't care.
No, yeah.
So a narcissist would be the person that would be early, be there for like a certain situation where they feel that someone's waiting on them, and they want that kind of like admiration. And like, so they will purposefully delay, not leave late, not, you know, take a different route to make it last longer, not make a pit stop, nothing like that. It will literally be get there early and then sit in the car.
Oh my gosh.
Watching who's there and just, okay, parking lot's filling up. And then saying like, okay, here's the time. Super, super, super like self-conscious about like the way that they look and the way that they present themselves. And then walk in and be like, oh, whatever. Now you guys were waiting on me, but And like someone looking in would be like, bro, you checked your tire like 50 million times in the car. What you mean that you just threw this on? Like, what you mean that you just rolled up here because, you had a million things? We've been sitting in the car for an hour. Like that didn't actually happen to me, but like I'm applying it to something like more simple versus someone who's self-centered would maybe be late because they didn't care that this event started at 7. They wanted to do their hair a certain way, or they wanted to fit in this other event at a certain time. So I'll get there when I get there, and you can feel a way about it. But that's like the difference. Like a narcissist, like it's the intent and the motivation behind it is what changes it for me, and the inability to like disregard it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a disorder.
Yeah, and to not see anything wrong with it.
Okay. All right. So Abba,
you have a lot of questions,
and we love it.
The age not equating maturity was mainly directed at Miss Smith.
Oh, like maybe she was.
Yeah.
But she didn't talk to him.
Yeah, she should have had some sort of conversation before she entered into a whole relationship within her marriage. So,
but maybe it was like, so you know how, I can't think of an example right now, but there are a couple like singers that I can like picture like the person, but they ended up marrying someone who was like, oh, I was such a big fan when I was like a little girl, and like they're like older, so it's like that admiration just because of them as like the performer. And maybe it was her, like maybe she was just like attracted to him for something, and because he's feeling like some kind of void for her, like to me it seems like a boy toy type situation.
It does.
So maybe she didn't care about like all the little extra stuff. Like it wasn't a relationship type deal, so you don't have to care about the fact that he like can't form a proper sentence and make good decisions.
And I'm realizing, like, I started watching the show 90 Day Fiance. I don't know how I've never watched the show before, but I'm like binging it now. And I'm seeing that a lot of people do like get into these relationships because they want someone to like kind of be over. Like they want to be smarter than the person. They want to know more than the person. They want to be able to control them in a certain way.
And it's that obvious on the show.
Right. And I feel like this was, in her case, I feel like she wanted someone she could kind of school. Like, I know a little bit more than you do. Yeah. And like, I can kind of control you. Like, you can see that he's like, I don't want to prejudge him like just off of one interview, but I'm going to prejudge him because like, he seems like he's just not all there. Like, he seems like he could be easily manipulated. And I feel like she knew that. Like, she wanted someone she could kind of like mold into whatever she wanted. And I don't know. Like, I feel like some people search that out when they're looking for a relationship. And she probably did. She didn't want, like, she has an equal with Will. So, like, maybe she wanted someone who's not, or maybe, like, she doesn't feel like she's equal with Will. He's, like, a huge movie star. And maybe she wanted somebody she could be, like, over a little bit. Like, I'm
not gonna say that about my girl Jada.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like maybe she was just like feeling a certain type of way with Will, because like I was talking with a friend about celebrities and how celebrities always seem to get a divorce around when one celebrity does better than the other, and he saw a pattern with that in celebrities. And so I'm thinking, like, I know that has to be an issue when you're in a celebrity relationship. I don't know that has to be an issue, but I'm just guessing, because they're celebrities, that like when one gets a better contract than the other, then there's a little bit of tension there. I feel like it. Yes. One gets like becomes a huge movie star. The other one wanted to be a movie star. They're not doing so well in movies.
So if they're both like actors, actresses.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Jada has done well, but it's not on the level of Will. Like, Will is like a bona fide movie star.
That's she had to carry babies,
and that's true. Women, we give up a lot in order to do that. You know, who knows what kind of movie star Denzel Washington's wife could have been had she not met Denzel Washington.
She was an actress?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And she gave it up to be the mom.
I would too. So we blame her? No, girl, you knew what you was doing. And they've been happily married.
Or like Tom Hanks's wife. She's an actress too.
Who's Tom Hanks?
What?
Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so like maybe there was a little bit of like, he's Will Smith and like he feels like when we're in a room together, he's like Will Smith. I just need somebody that I'm Jada. Like when I'm in a room, I want to be Jada. Like I don't want, you know, maybe I don't know. I don't know her life.
That's the point. We don't know. But what's so crazy is we should not be having this conversation because her business should stay her business. But that little punk Chump.
So you're gonna blame
Cena for bringing it out. If he didn't come out and say this, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. It could have been their business,
but I go back to
analyzing.
I go back to blaming Jada because she found that punk chump whatever, and she decided to get in a relationship with him. She should at least sign the NDA.
Jada called me,
why didn't she make him sign an NDA?
He said he had a whole conversation. First response. I was like, oh shoot, bring it out. What's the consequence? He done violated something.
Nothing. He said he had a whole conversation with her and Will. So why wasn't there an NDA there?
There might have been. And then they might have just felt like he's still going to suffer whatever consequences. Maybe there's a monetary consequence there. And then they still have to do damage control. They can't just be like, here's our NDA. He can't say that. That doesn't like help them. That still says that that's true. If he disclosed something that he wasn't supposed to disclose. What we do know is that there's no defamation claim because the number one defense to defamation is truth. So if what he's saying is the truth, it's not defamatory. So the NDA will only do as good at the only purpose that an NDA would serve is to say that he violated some agreement and there's like a consequence for him, usually like a monetary type consequence. So, but she still has to come out and address it or else it's just going to like fester and like sit there. So that wasn't really like an option for her, but I just feel like he should have just kept his little behind mouth closed. Like, what part of the game is that?
And speaking, going back to our main topic, relationships and dating, like, is that something that's like happening now? Like, people are just like, there's open marriages. People have to find somebody within a marriage.
Like polyamorous.
Is that like my husband's cousin called him and literally was like, yo, I went on a date with a dude and he was just like, basically, he just flat out was just like, how do you feel about being a sister wife? Like, and she was like, what? What are you talking about? And I'm like, is that like a thing now?
It's great TV too. I really like watching them. There was one, I don't remember what it was, but it was a Black couple and they like tried to bring someone else in. I don't know if it was called Sister Wives, but it was like a show where there was like a couple of like separate like little families, so you got to see like what was going on with them. And it was just so interesting to see like, you know, these like regular girls, but then to hear their points of view. I like watching stuff that is so different from what I deal with or like I'm not in that type of situation. Right. So if I don't watch it on TV, I don't know nothing about it. Like my friend's not doing this, we're not doing this. But I have had conversations with like other people and they're like, well, if you want to be in a relationship now, like you just have to accept those things. Like someone I think it was like on social media, like it wasn't directly to me, but I saw it and it was basically like, well, at this point, like if you want to, if you're single now, you're trying to date, like you have to accept like a guy that's like bi. And it's like, you don't tell me what I gotta accept.
No, you can accept that if you want to. Like, if that's what you're into, then
that's your thing. But if I don't have to accept that. Like, it's not like we're down to like 1,000 people and we just gotta like do what we got.
No.
And even then, I'll be the only one that just don't have no babies and don't be with no man. Like, I just, you know, I'm not like one of those like type of women that's like, I don't need no man for nothing. Yeah. I feel like everything's designed for you to be married, like with the person, like whatever. I don't really want to have kids outside of a marriage, but at the same time, like I'm just not putting up with the foolishness that's going on around here. Like I wish somebody would come to me and be like, I want to bring another wife into this. And I'm like, you know what? Give me 5 minutes. I'll drop them the divorce papers so fast and be like, well, how about you could just have her and just let me go on about my business? How about that? But it's just not my thing. Like, and I know it. Like, I'm super indecisive when I don't know. But when I know something, if I know that I want a crab pot, you can't come to me and be like, oh, but don't you love Popeyes? Well, yeah, but like I want this. No. You know what I'm saying? But then sometimes when I'm super like indecisive, I'm indecisive. So I'm like, well, I don't really know. Like, what do you think we should eat? Blah, blah, blah. So I can be indecisive, but when I know,
yeah,
bro, like don't even.
That's like somebody asking me if I want to live like in Alaska somewhere. Like, no, I don't want to try it. I don't care how they do it there.
But I would move if I literally found like the love of my life and we had to move to Alaska, I would go. I would go anywhere.
Well, yeah, you have.
So it's like I'm willing to do like the most for the right person, but I just won't do anything for the wrong person. So people think I'm like so difficult and like, oh, you're so picky and that's why you're single. And it'd be like, well, you could be right. But how about we're not going to find out? Because I know that my God is a good guy.
Yeah.
And I just know he ain't presented my man to me yet.
You just have to make your request. Like when you're talking, we're getting spiritual here.
Mm-hmm.
So you just make your request known to God, because like I always tell my mom's story. Like she always said she wanted to get married, and for the longest time she was single. Like for as long as I can remember. Like my parents had a divorce, and like when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
And she's been single this whole time. And like 2 years ago, she went out on a date. Someone set her up on a date. Went out with a nice man, and she was like, oh, I really like him. Then they, decided, okay, I want you to meet my family. So she went to visit him in Mississippi, met his family, and he proposed. It was like they only knew each other for like 2 weeks or something like that, something crazy. But they knew that like they wanted to get married.
And they're together. Like I feel that way too. Like it's obvious. Like I don't care about like societal norms and like you're supposed to go this way, you're supposed to do it this, whatever. I don't really care about that. Yeah. I try to, and it just always felt like I was like on a roller coaster, like that little funny feeling in your stomach. Like it just never felt like right. So once I got to the point where I was just like more comfortable with myself and just more just like whatever, I just knew that like I can't just like abide by stuff just because someone else or like it's in a book and it says like, okay, at year marker 31, you should. No, and I'd be like, who wrote this book? Probably a man that don't know nothing about what we like. So that's just like my take on it. And I think part of the problem is that I misjudge. Like people think that I'm like super, super like A-type personality and like super, super dominant. I have a strong personality and I'm very like, but I like to be led.
Yeah.
So, but I also don't care about changing that misconception because I feel like the right person just gonna like figure it out instead of judging.
Right.
Because like I don't want to judge you person. Yeah. So if you're gonna like look at my Instagram profile or look at how I look and not hear anything come out of my mouth and decide that I'm this kind of person, you ain't for me anyway. So I don't have no interest in like changing that.
I truly believe in people being destined to be together, and like the person that I feel like God has for you is the person uniquely designed to deal with you, like in your person, and you're uniquely designed to handle them as a partner. And so you can't compromise when it comes to that. You need to wait for that person,
that right person. And I also think that if I look back to the person that I was even 5 years ago, I probably was a little bit more difficult to deal with. Like now I'm just, like I have calmed down a lot. I don't get up and go as much. That probably would have been tough for any guy. And because of the long relationship that I was in, that was very like claustrophobic, like it would have been very hard for another man to be like, you're going where? Didn't you just go? Like, I'm like, I didn't ask you nothing. I didn't ask you nothing. Because a lot of that was very like, oh, I don't want to go, but you could go. And it was like, what am I even doing? Like, you don't want to come with me? But now it'd be like, oh, you don't want to come? Well, I'm going to Istanbul tomorrow. Are you going? No? Okay, bye. And it's not that I don't care. Well, I don't care. That's true. I don't care. But it's not that like I wouldn't, like I like long for vacations. Like I look at them, like that's the kind of stuff I look at and be like, oh, one day. But I also don't care about taking me a fire picture in front of the I don't know, Burj Al Arab in Dubai and being like, woo, living my best life. So it's just, I just am really like a win in Rome kind of person. Yeah. So when it's my time, it's my time.
True. All right, do we want to answer one more question before we wrap it up? We always say we're going to keep these conversations short, but then we just the conversation is good.
Sorry. We got to end it with this. So we started off talking about how, you're married. Then we talked about like dating and relationships, whatever. My question to you is, and the reason why I'm asking this is because when people get married, you say like, so what is it like? The consistent response is, it's so different. But then like when you ask like older people, they say like, oh, you have to keep doing this and you have to keep doing that. So is it really that different? And like, if so, what's so different about it? Like, is it that you're still doing the same things, but now you're just like doing it all with one person? Yeah. Or is it just like all around just different?
I don't feel like it's different, and it's not different. I feel like it's different in the sense that you feel more of a I feel like a familial tie to someone, so you know that your decisions really do affect that other person in every sense of the word, like, because you're married to them, you're tied to them, so like you make decisions with that person. In a healthy marriage, you should be making decisions with that person, discussing those decisions with them, big purchases, like moving, religion, like, well, before you even get to marriage, you should be discussing that, but like money, all of that. And so your children, how you think you should raise them. And so it's very different in that sense. It's like, things are, when you make decisions, it's a little more heavier. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm just making it for me. It's just me that's going to be affected. It's a family that you're talking about. But in the sense of like your relationship and how you interact with each other, it's not different, because I feel like a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that it is different, and they stop dating each other. They stop trying to get to know each other. And a lot of times me and my husband talk about the fact that it's like, we still do have to get to know each other. Like, why not? Like, we're still changing. I'm going to be different in 5 years than I am now. And so it's a continuous, like, getting to know this person, getting to know what they like, getting to know what they don't like, how they're like, what they're strong in, what they're weak in. Like, you should constantly keep that up. And like that keeps the relationship exciting also, because you're still learning someone. And that's so but a lot of times I feel like couples get married and they forget that, and they're like, I know, and then they wake up like 10 years from now and they're like, who am I married to? Because they forgot to keep like getting to know that person. So in that sense, you should keep it the same as like when you were dating, and you should keep it fun. And whatever, like my pastors always say, whatever you did to get the person, you better keep on doing forever. And a lot of people forget that. They're like, I got the person, I don't have to do that anymore. And it's like, no, but you did it before. Yeah. So you have to remember that. And it's hard, because like, I know now, especially now that we have kids, like, or a kid, it's, like, women, we take on everything. We're doing 10 million things a day, handling the baby and doing all these things. So you get tired and you're like, oh, like your husband kind of comes in the last spot. So you have to remember, like, not to allow that. Like I feel like D.D. Jake said it, like, if you're a mother, a wife, a friend, or whatever, like, you're gonna fail in one area every day, but you shouldn't be failing in the same area every day. You have to spread it out. So that's like, I feel like maybe the biggest change is to like remember that. But definitely my biggest thing is, like, as a married couple, we've only been married for 4 years, so I'm not an expert, but like, continue to get to know each other, continue to date each other, continue to like discover new things about each other. And that's important, because I mean, you don't stop growing, so you have to, and that's like one of the things that I look for, is someone that I feel like I can grow with. That's something that I look for, like, in the beginning. Right, exactly. And sometimes you can't really tell, but I like want to see, like, is this person, so when I'm asking about like, so like, what do you do like for work, I'm not necessarily, they think that it stops right there. I'm thinking like, okay, what's the growth potential of that particular career? Because the type of person that just has like job A and they want to stay at job A forever, it's not even about my desire for you to want to go to B, C, D, E, F, G. That person is going to end up despising me. Right. And they're going to end up having like, kind of like, ugh, towards me. So because I've learned that and I know that, I have to, I can't play like, be boo the fool, like, and act like I don't know. But you definitely hit the nail on the head, I think, with regard to like getting someone who, or being with someone that you both want to continue to like understand the person, learn the person, so that y'all can grow together. Because how else can you, if you're doing your own things? Like, you have to still have those conversations and be genuinely like interested in what the person has going on in like their separate life, so that y'all can keep it together. Exactly. Yeah. That's a good point, because you say what you did to get them is what you have to do to keep them.
what I hear about, like what I hear from that is like the negative aspect when people are like when cause side chick is like a thing where like the side chick becomes a wife and it's like how you got him is how you gonna lose him.
Yeah. That's true.
When the next side chick come along. Let's see if we can take something else. Are you saying it wants to be someone dominant? Are you saying that she? I don't remember what this was about, so I don't.
I think yeah.
Study the claims 50% of women have a backup man. My guess is what?
Wait, what?
So somebody said that they've heard of a study. First of all, how you hear of a study? Did you hear the study? Did you read the study, or did you hear of a study that claims that 50% of women have a backup man? My guess is that it's higher. So 50% of what women?
The women you know?
Married women, single women, all races, all countries. Like, I feel like that who the control group is very important there, because how I gauge what I think is normal is based upon my friends. I feel like I have a pretty decent like melting pot of friends, and the females are not the ones with someone on the side. It's the guys. Yeah. It's always the guys. I will always respect the guys who just won't get into a serious relationship and just want to be free and be like whatever they want to be. But I feel like the girl is more inclined to do that, and the guy is more inclined to just like appease that one girl and then still do what they like deep inside like want to do. So I don't know about that, player. I don't know about that.
I feel like if a woman has a backup man, like she's out the door, like she's done at that point.
So our profession. So I am a lawyer. I am the littest lawyer ever.
The lit lawyer.
The lit lawyer.
And I work in marketing and communications. I also have another company called Let's Talk. You can visit it at letstalkpalmbeach.com. We help small businesses, entrepreneurs connect with, to get funding, to get resources, connect with CEOs of larger corporations, and to get what they need to be successful and to thrive.
You gotta read this because I can't read. What does it?
If fewer and fewer men are willing to marry,
like to yourself to see if it's something.
Oh well, I think it's a question about polygamy and the fact that we are moving more that way. So it says if fewer and fewer men are willing to marry, whilst the number of women wanting marriage remains constant or decreases at a lower rate than polyamory, right, may be inevitable. I don't know about that.
Be an inevitability.
I feel like that's a math question. I'm
but like so we are, because of the increase in the openly like gay Black male population. I'm sure the statistics do show that I know for sure that I have less to choose from, 100%. So I guess if you look at it that way, as that's the response. So, but what my issue with this is that it basically says that like my only desire is just to be married. If I just wanted to be married, then I could just be married. So it's like, if I'm just willing to just like take whoever will like take me, then maybe that's your route. But if that was the case, like, child.
You're not going to be in a polygamous relationship just because you want to be married. You'd rather just be.
I haven't gotten to the point where I'm willing to settle. So some people, their goal is, having the children or whatever. So they, get focused on like maybe what they want their children to look like, what kind of father they want for their children, or what they want the overall like familial picture to look like for them. And then that's their goal. So they'll, maybe deal with whatever else comes along with that man that fits into that picture for them. Then that's fine. Others, women may want like security. So maybe they'll have like a guy that they know makes them feel secure in whatever way, and they'll deal with whatever. Mine is multifaceted. So one of those things and eliminate all the others just won't work for me. So, and mainly for me, like, I'm just not willing to sacrifice like a genuine like love and like, just like admiration for like the person, just because like they make me feel secure. I know they'd be a good dad, like like, bro, I got to come before the kids. So,
and one of the things that my husband and I just celebrated our 4th anniversary last
Happy
month.
anniversary.
Thank you. And when we were talking at dinner, and I just realized like this was something that I didn't even know I wanted going into a marriage, but that I realized that I'm so happy that I have is just someone to like, because life is a series of ups and downs. Like you're gonna have your peaks and you're gonna have your valleys. And I was just saying, like, we've gone through in our 4 years, we've gone through a lot as far as like valleys and things that just come up with family and like health and all kinds of things. And it's just like, I would never want to go through any of those other things than with my husband.
No.
Like, you know, like I felt like I have the right, because that sometimes is when rubber meets the road, is like when someone's going to really show up as who they really are. And like, I feel like when we go through these things, like that's
when he shows up.
Right. Like he's like exactly the person that I want him to be in those situations. I went for my post-op visit the other day, and the doctor was like, "Oh, tell your husband I said hi." He was so worried, and like he insisted on coming back. With COVID, like people aren't allowed to be in the hospital with their significant other, so he was just like, "Nope, I'm coming back. Like I have to be there." Like he was there, like he was so present. And so she was just like, "I just remember your husband, like he was so worried." And I was just like, "Yeah," but like I'm happy that I have like a strong other that like, you know, not that it's life is all about those hard times, but when you go through hard times, you want to be with someone who's like gonna really go through it with you.
It's easy to celebrate.
Right.
It's not so easy to, you know, wait in the hallway for you while you're going through whatever it is. Yeah, he was super worried, and he was also just very like thoughtful of other people. Like he updated me, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like thank you," because I'm over here like, "Can I call? Can I like?" Yeah. So he was great about that.
But yeah, I feel like in a marriage, just like those are the things. Like I think that's more of like when you're praying for someone, because you can't really know that when you meet someone. Even when I didn't know that when I got married to him, what kind of person he would be in situations like that. But that's like more of like in your prayers, like the person that
just hope for the best. Yeah. And that's why I think like what you were saying earlier about, I don't remember what the actual example that you gave was, but like whether they knew like the type of person that this was, or was it just like a surprise? I think it can go both ways.
Right.
Like I feel like sometimes they really are just like, yeah, I didn't think he was perfect, but I just never saw this coming. Other times you'd be like, girl, you knew he was out there being a serial killer. You knew the bodies was in your backyard, girl. You knew.
You saw that blood in his car. You
seen that new fresh patch of dirt in the middle of your grass. Why you ain't asked why he put a cement slab on top of it later? Like why you didn't ask those questions? So yeah. So I think it's definitely both. Yeah. And it just depends on the actual situation. But let's wrap this up.
Yes,
so
on that note,
0 to 100. You got anything?
0 to 100. Oh, 0 to 100. I read the story about the Central Park Karen who called the cops on the guy who was bird watching. She was charged. I think she was charged with
making a false report.
Right, right. But then I was like, oh, okay, good. But then I was like at 100, because I was like, the guy who she called the cops on, the prosecutors called him to like testify, and he was like, no, I want no parts in that. I'm like, dude, yes, you do. You need to testify against this woman, because guess what? If she would have been able to file a report against you, she would have been happily testifying in court against how you threatened her life. So my 100 was that he backed off. He felt like she had enough bad things happen to her, and I feel like she didn't have enough bad things. She needs to have more, because it's not just her, it's all the Karens in the world who need to see that being a Karen is going to get you in trouble. Karen.
You heard her. So my response to that is, even if you don't want to take on all that responsibility of this is bigger than this situation and this is for all the Karens in the world. Okay, you don't want to take on that. But at the end of the day, like you have a duty. Okay, so you were involved in this situation. You have a duty to testify, to provide your statement, to cooperate with the police, the prosecution, so that we can go through the proper channels of the justice system. So regardless of what you feel and what you think about her and whatever, like, bruh, miss me with all that, because not only would she have testified against him, had the case gone, she would have been just as dramatic and lying the same way when she called the police. So I get so frustrated when I see us as a people being so forgiving. Like when Bertrand's brother hugged the former police officer that killed his. Like, bro, what is we doing? And the judge came down. I was like, what is this? Like, this is ridiculous. And it's like, it's not like we're telling you to go fight her. Go pull up on her house and shoot it up. Ain't nobody saying that. All this being said is that you do what you have to do, what your role in this situation is, which is provide your statement and or testify. And the fact that you think you have an opinion as to what you want to happen, you sound like a battered woman in a domestically violent relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, you sound like that. And luckily, even in that type of situation, the prosecutor has a choice to still pursue the case without him.
Good.
So the fact that you want to sit there and be like, nope, I'm not going to cooperate because I feel, I don't care what the backstory was. I don't care what she had said in the background. I don't care if she called you boohoo crying and laid in your lap or laid on your titties and was like, oh, please forgive me. You can forgive her, but at the end of the day, she did something wrong and she should be punished.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. It's absurd.
And I feel like somebody paying the price for a crime that they do is also about whether or not you feel like they'll go out in society and do the same thing. Like, obviously you want a murderer to go to prison because not just because they murdered someone, because you don't want them to murder other people. And it's like, I feel like she should pay the price, not just, even if you forgave her, let's make sure she doesn't do that to other people. So she really learns her lesson.
Well, I think there's a minimum for a reason. So so that's true, but I think that's a valid consideration for the amount of time or the height of the consequence that's involved. But I don't care if she's never going to do it again. That doesn't change the fact that what she did was effed up. Like, you had no business doing that. So even if she got on Dateline TV right now and was like, this is how I feel and this is why I did it, and it all seems so believable, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, don't throw the book at her. But girl, take your behind to jail, or take your behind to pay this fine, or take your behind to probation for however long, whatever the consequence that's associated in New York for that particular crime. But like, bruh, like, miss me with all of that. Can we trade him for somebody else? Because
yeah.
Okay, I'll share a 0 to 100 moment. Was this whole Kanye West thing. Like, I was 0 because when I heard it, I was like, who cares? Like, Kanye West always does this. But what took me to 100 is how people were really like, he's gonna split the vote. What's gonna happen? I'm like, he didn't even register like to really be a candidate. And I was like, so it literally is the equivalent of someone writing in Donald Duck or Natasha Harrison. Like, that's really the equivalent. So I'm like, I wish that, like, oh my God, like, I wish that someone just couldn't come out and just say something like that, and then we're like immediately responding to it as if it's like it has to be real. It has to be
so
true.
Serious.
Like, why don't
the
we
whole
be like,
world did.
Like, why don't we question stuff, and why aren't we like, wait, he could just do that? Because it seems like,
and he just literally announced it on Twitter.
But Biden had to drop out, and Kanye always does this. He's been talking about running for president for how long? It was freaking in one of his songs. Like, he talks about this all the time. So I'm like, why do we? It's like we keep falling for the same okie doke. It ain't even like falling for a okie doke. It's like the same okie dokes over and over and over again. And then it's just like, oh my gosh, we're gonna respond to this because it's like so interesting, and like, oh, I'm so enraged. It's like, bruh, can we focus on them arresting the murderers of Breonna Taylor? How about that?
Yes, please.
Like, can we get stuck on that? So it took me to 100 because I was like, wait, why is this all over the social media? Like, why are they talking about this on the radio? Like, I barely am in my car, getting in my car, and they're talking about like Kanye West. And I was like, I didn't take it as a thing. I thought it was just him being Kanye. But apparently people really did it because they were posting like, oh, he's gonna split the vote. And I personally think he would split Donald Trump's vote, because I don't think anybody with any kind of sense would vote for Kanye. The same way I don't think anybody with any kind of sense or anyone who's not a racist would vote for Donald Trump.
That goes to show you how much influence celebrities have. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, instead of tweeting that, like, why didn't he tweet for people to arrest the murderers of Breonna Taylor? Like,
he don't care about that. He don't care about that.
So yeah, stop giving celebrities so much clout and stop taking them so seriously. Let's just ignore them. That's the worst thing you could do to somebody like a Kanye West or a Donald Trump, is just like ignore them. Like, don't even acknowledge.
That's how I feel about like that Tommy Lloyd.
Oh yeah, I can't even.
But like, I'll be on social media and she'll pop up on the Shade Room, and I'm
Her
like, why?
and the other one.
Like y'all the reason that she get a check. Like
then,
why?
yes.
Like she should be irrelevant, because if Susie walks by here right now and says the same ish that whatever her name is says, that's not gonna go viral. So y'all literally are like keeping her on the payroll.
Her and I can't even remember the other girl's name, but
the black one.
Yes.
She's
like
Candace.
The black Tommy Lauren.
I don't know her last name, but I only know her. I know her when something happens for her to be relevant, and then I forget her again, and she comes back, and I'm like, who is this girl?
I saw like a whole thing where she was debating like T.I. and Killer Mike, and I'm like, who set that up, and like why? Like, why are they debating her? Like, what is this?
Illuminati.
On that note, it's time to go. It's time to go, y'all.
Bye. See y'all next time. We outie 5.